Well, joining
closing out
us
with the
now from downtown Calgary is our friend and reporter Angelica Toy. Angelica, great to see you. You have been covering this story very closely along with Sydney Fizzard. Tell me, where are you now and what is the latest?
So currently I am at City Hall, and this morning I ended up going to the Calgary Spy Hill Jail Center, and I was sitting there for hours until a police officer had come outside and had informed me that Derek Reimer has supposedly been released at midnight the night before. Now, yesterday I was also there. So about 7 p.m. until an officer had told me that Derek will not be released until the following day.
Hmm.
He didn't specify whether or not it was in the morning or later, but I came there bright and early just to make sure I could catch him, and I was told he was released. So right now, nobody knows his whereabouts. His roommate doesn't know where he is. Nobody has any contact from his cell phone. Nobody's heard from him. So currently, he is, I guess, missing.
Well, that's very strange, and I hope he's okay. I wonder if the police officer who basically told you to go home was doing that in good faith, or if it was just trickery. As we saw yesterday when the police arrested Pastor Reimer, they tried to block Sydney, block his camera, made up some BS excuse to get him to show ID. Our cameraman, I mean, I think the Calgary police are behaving very badly. I don't know if the message to you to go home was a trick or what. It is odd that he cannot be found, but I don't want to read too much into that yet. He may just be avoiding publicity for whatever reasons, including perhaps on lawyers' advice. Now, tell me what else happened today, because I understand that Pastor Artur Pawlowski, who, of course, we've been defending for 3 years since he was the target of a lockdown charge, I understand he had a rally in support of Pastor Reimer today. Tell us how that went.
Yes, correct. So as soon as I got here, we all decided to come into this building and warm up a bit just before the press conference. And they ended up asking the security guards. They said it was totally fine. And then all of a sudden, it started to go downhill. And Bob Leone, somebody who used to work for the Independence Party of Alberta, is close with Pastor Artur. He was the one who technically organized the event, and he was talking with a security guard, trying to, make sure everything was going smoothly. And then another security bypassed him and started raising his voice at Artur Pawlowski, telling him that he must leave, that he is not allowed in here. And then from there, it escalated. There was a lot of yelling, and other protesters that were in the building also started getting involved, and it just became a large altercation there. And afterwards, another protester was also told to leave the building.
I understand that Pastor Artur Pawlowski has been banned from City Hall, given an order under the Trespass Act for a month.
Yes.
Now, I haven't studied Calgary's trespass bylaws closely. I have studied them in other cities like here in Toronto, because I remember when we were trying to go to City Hall in Toronto, and there was sort of a Idle No More Antifa shanty town there, and their security and police were trying to shoo us away. We studied the law. We realized that public property doesn't have the same trespass rules as private property. At least in Toronto, you can kick anyone off your private property for any reason or no reason. And it should be that way. If someone's on your front yard, you should be able to say, get off, and they should have to leave without a reason. But on public property, it's very different. Unless you're doing something aggressive like drunk and disorderly, or there's certain prohibited activities. But other than that, you can be in a park. You can be in a public place. You can be on a sidewalk. And the idea of trespassing someone off of a public place is, I'm skeptical that it was done lawfully. Because a city hall, I mean, perhaps in the council chambers, there's a different rule, but just being in the big building of City Hall and someone says, get out, because the mayor hates Artur Pawlowski and Derek Reimer with a passion of 1,000 burning suns, you can tell. Do you know what they did wrong? Like, what, other than the mayor hating these guys, what happened?
They've done nothing wrong. Both of them have all exercised their charter of rights. And whenever you say something that the establishment doesn't like, they crack down on you, just like Justin Trudeau has done with Rebel News. And I would also like to add, the altercation did not stop just inside City Hall. It continued outside when Pastor Artur had set up. He had just finished his speech. and police officers had approached him and they were trying to serve him with the trespass notice. And Artur denied, and he did not want to physically take the ticket. So the police officers kept pushing, and they ended up actually chasing him and cornering him, and it became a big mess. And after that whole entire thing, him and his brother David, they both got served with a 1-year ban from City Hall.
That was an excerpt from the Ezra Levant show. I'm Ezra Levant. Every weekday, I do a monologue about the topic of the day. Then I interview a fascinating guest, either in studio or via Skype. And then I read your mail, whether it's fan mail or hate mail, which is sometimes even more interesting. This is on our premium service, though, called Rebel News Plus. Go to rebelnewsplus.com. It's $8 a month or less if you buy a whole year in advance. You get my show every weeknight, plus Sheila Gunn Reid's show every week. It's called The Gun Show. It's pretty amazing. You know, we rely on you because we do not take a dime from the government. In Canada, that makes us almost unique. So please help us out and help yourself to some great journalism at rebelnewsplus.com.